Hello, everyone. We're BlackJack presenting BlackJack, and I'm Jack. And my partner here is David.
Hello, everyone. We're presenting as part of the MITES course, Python, AI, and the Fundamentals of Computer Science for the cohort of 2024. So first, the background.
So for our project, our basic topic was to recreate the classic game of blackjack using Python, and we kept all aspects of the game and rules and even gave the player the choice if they want to bet or not. So our motivation for this project was because we thought it would be fun to create an online version of blackjack so you could play anytime you wanted, and you wouldn't need to set up the game and find someone to be a dealer to play, and making it more convenient overall. And lastly, our project benefits people in some way by providing them with an alternative to real gambling. People can still enjoy the real game blackjack and not have to lose any money. Additionally, we provided players with an option to play bet free or with bets. This gives people who enjoy the betting aspect of the game a chance to love the game still while not gambling real money. So our original vision was just to recreate the simple game of blackjack that we all know and we're used to, and allow the player to bet money, mimicking the real blackjack experience. However, once we started developing the game and looked through the rules, we found that people could, in real casinos, they could play with doubling down and splitting their hands, which we normally didn't play with. So we decided to add that into our game. And we also gave users an option to bet or to just play an unlimited version, which we didn't intend to do so at first.
All right, so now we're going to go over the actual process of our code and how it works, how we started on it, and how we developed it.
So the game basically has the same rules as real life blackjack. We kept all aspects of it. And then to represent the deck, since Python is more like a text file base, we couldn't really show the cards, so we showed it through a list. So here you can see on the right that the cards they're in order, and then we listed them out in a list, and then we used we like shuffled it using the random module, giving the like aspect of real life shuffling. So it begins with the welcome message, and then it asks if you know the rules. So if you press yes, you can do yes or no. If you don't know the rules, it will show you the rules, and then if you do, it will give you the option to if you want to play with bets or not. And then uh next slide. And then so the betting, so after you go through the rules, you'll be given a prompt that if you would like to play with bets or not. And then if you press yes, you'll be given the option to bet however much amount you want to start with. And then once you do that, it will ask you, it will once it gives you the rules, it asks you how much you want to bet. And then once you enter the amount from 1 to 500, uh it prints out the how much you want to bet for that individual round. All right, next slide. Yeah. And then yeah, so you could choose to bet however much you want. Here we betted 500.
All right, now for the pseudocode. I'm not going to actually read out all of this, but just to give you an idea of how this works, Jack has already explained the starting screen. It uses a lot of while loops and if-then statements to figure out whether the user wants to run the unlimited version or the version with bets and whether they know how to play the game at all. Now our unlimited version and our betting version are both within the same function. It's just the addition of if-then statements for when someone is betting that allow it to be different from each other. So for the unlimited version, you just deal the players cards and then you let them hit or stand, like a normal game of blackjack. Before this happens, obviously the dealer checks for natural blackjack, and if they do have natural blackjack and the player does not, then the dealer wins automatically, and vice versa as well. And then the game of blackjack continues normally, hit, stand, and then the dealer gets to draw, and they have to draw as soon as they keep drawing until they're at 17 or over. For the betting version, it works the same way, except there's a couple extra things that happen. Like Jack mentioned earlier, you choose a bet for every round, and then you risk either get that money back, like doubled, or you lose that money, or nothing happens to it a lot at all if it's a tied game. There's also certain scenarios where you get more than your original bet. For example, if you get natural blackjack and the dealer does not, you get 1.5 times your bet. And also if you double down or split, you can get double your bet as well, or lose double your bet. So that's how the pseudocode works. And some background concepts we had to understand to write this code were list, functions and global variables, loops, conditionals, and ANSI code color codes. So list is how our game works entirely. Our decks, our hands, they're all lists of cards. And these lists can be shuffled randomly, as Jack said, with the random module. We also had a lot of functions in this project. These also shorten the length of the code a lot. We also had to, because we had so many functions, we had to deal with the memory system that Python has, which does not allow for a lot of like instant updating of variables, especially within functions. So we had to use the global variables to get over this issue, basically making a variable global to allow it to be edited within a function. We also had a lot of loops. So for example, adding cards to the dealer's deck is a loop that only ends once the dealer has at least 17 points. As we mentioned earlier, there are a lot of conditionals, if then statements, if else, else if. We had a lot of variables that were just true or false values, like Booleans, which allowed us to run certain parts of the code once other parts have already been checked. And then to also add some color into our project, we use ANSI color codes. So now I'm going to do a quick demonstration. All right, this is our demonstration. So this is the string code to access the file. We run the file and you are given the welcome message as Jack showed you in the screenshots before. I'm going to say don't know the rules. It prints them out with colors to indicate certain things that are important, values, cards. And I'm going to say I will want to play with bets, and it explains how betting works here. And then I'm going to start off with $100. I'm going to go 50 here. All right, my value is 19, so I'm just going to stand. Okay, dealer's turn now. Cards are 2 and 5, 9, and then they might bust here. So yeah, I won this round. I got 50 bucks out of that. This round, I'm gonna bet, let's say, what if I don't bet a number? Okay, so it doesn't let me bet that. What if I bet too much? Doesn't let me bet that either. So my bet amount has to be within my allotted value and above 1. I'm gonna hit in this case, 16. I'm gonna hit again because the dealer has a jack. I'm gonna stand now. All right, I lost this round. I'm gonna go all in on this next one. Again. All right, I lost this round. I'm out of money. The dealer got 18. I busted. So it says I'm out of money. I lost the game, and I do want to play again, but this time I don't want to play with bets, and so I can just play the unlimited version until I lose. So now it's the dealer's turn, and I won this round, and I don't want to play again. And it says thanks for playing and exits program. Okay, so that was our demonstration of the game. So now we have our concluding statements.
So for future opportunities, so if we were able to continue this project or if we had more time, something we would like to work on is adding a more user-friendly interface. As you could see, it was a lot of text, but the color did help because before it's just all text and it's like really hard to read. But something we want to try if we had more time was using Python's drawing abilities and having it draw out the cards rather than just printing out in text. Additionally, we could try to develop some sort of web app rather than just keeping it as a text file so people could actually see what's happening and make it more engaging. And some careers in that we talked about in this class. I personally don't think I would like a future career involved in computer science or programming, but I have a slight interest in AI and how we could make it like smarter and less biased. That's something like I would like I'd be interested in the future. How about you, David?
I would be interested in that too. I think I'm leaning more towards computer science though, um, career-wise at least. So now our conclusions. So some advice for the future.
So some advice that we have is for someone who would like to learn about computer science, Python specifically, is that it's really important to like stick with it and not give up so easily. Like we ran into a lot of problems and like many times we like just couldn't figure out. So it's like really important to also like talk to someone about it and like work together because that will help you get ideas across and eventually like help you be able to solve the problem. Like that's how we solve our problems with the splitting hands and doubling down.
Mhm.
And also there's also a lot of online resources out there that could help you get through a problem, but I wouldn't suggest using AI services to just solve a problem for you, because a lot of the times you're not going to understand exactly what the code they print out means, because it might be like a lot more complex than what you've learned. So it's always better to do it on your own or with someone's help instead of just looking for the answer somewhere else. And then something we learned from the class was the basics of Python. And obviously we learned a lot from it because we were obviously able to create this project. Something else I want to touch on is what we learned about AI and how it could be a trustworthy source, but the data it leans on is biased, and this can lead to inaccurate responses. So it's like really important to fact check that information and not trust like opinionated answers in particular, because those answers most likely come from like biased sources. And some memories that I have from this class is when was able to complete the P sets without needing like to turn to others for help and like getting it on the first try. How about you, David?
I think my biggest memory was when we were working on the splitting hands and doubling down feature, and we had to rework our entire win and loss system because of that. It was really interesting having to take a step back and having to like revert a couple files to see what we could do from like the source work, I guess. It was really difficult, but we got through it. And yeah, I think that's it for our presentation, guys. Thank you for listening. Now it's time for Q&A. If you want, we can demonstrate the splitting hands and doubling down for you. Thank you, everyone.
And you can scan the QR code if you want to play the game yourself.